Our tale begins on New Year's, and the feast in King Arthur's hall was in full swing. Conversation flowed like wine, and the company filled hearts as the food filled bellies. A pounding of a fist was heard, and then hooves, tlut, 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 signaled the arrival of an intruder on the festivities. A giant green knight came in. Champions of Camelot, what do you say to a game? The intruder was as green as the grass that reared its head in spring. Horse, bridle, armor, hair, and skin, all green. The court was silent. They thought that this green man must be outside the mortal. This is the famed court of the renowned King Arthur. I put forth the challenge for the second and last time. Who will accept a game? In the silence, a figure stood up. I accept. What are your terms? My game is simple. It's a beheading game. You have 3 tries to cut off my head. If you promise in a year, I can cut off yours. The court collectively drew in a breath. Is this a demon from hell? I, Gawain, accept your challenge. Gawain takes the axe from the Green Knight, and as the green man kneels, he strikes it down to the floor. The green head rolled a few feet, leaving a trail of green blood. The giant's body, with dignity and grace, got up, walked the few feet, and picked up the head. I will see you in a year, it said, and it left the court. The people were horrified, and Gawain felt dread crawl up his spine. Surely in a year he would meet his death by the axe of the Green Knight. It is now Samhain of the next year. Gawain, unsure of how to get to the Green Chapel, sets off into the wide world to keep his appointment with death. He travelled far, saw the gold of autumn turn to the brown, then grey, to finally white of winter. Through the forest he met monsters. He fought dragons for their rage and wolves for their hunger. Gawain was half-starved and almost wholly frozen. He found himself on Christmas Eve, knees in the mud, calling out, praying to God to find a place to hear Christmas Mass. Please, he said, if only I had some place to rest and pray. Guide my way, God. He traveled a while after that, and the trees started getting sparser. Finally he came to the end of the forest, and as he traveled through some waist-high grass, the grey dawn light gradually came through the fog. To Gawain's surprise, a castle stood with its firelights flickering in the morn. The host of the castle greeted him graciously, gave him warm clothes, food, and drink, and introduced him to his beautiful wife, and bid him to join their Christmas feast. On St. Stephen's Day, Gawain made to leave, but the host protested and said, I know where the Green Chapel is. Stay here for 3 more days, and we will have a game. And what is this game of yours? Well, it is simple. You'll stay and rest the day, and I will go out hunting, and what we win in the day, we will give to each other in the evening. I wager I'll have way more than you. I think your terms are stacked against me, but I accept. So the first day the host went hunting deer in the forest, and Gawain lay to bed until daybreak, and as the sunlight crept in, so did the lady of the castle, the host's beautiful wife. Gawain was startled, but the lady just smiled and sat herself down on his bed. They fell to bantering, and with each advance the lady made, Gawain all the more graciously turned her down. This went on until she declared him the not true SIr Gawain. Gawain was puzzled by this and asked her what she meant. And she replied that the true Sir Gawain would never turn down a lady's kiss. Gawain, not wanting to be unchivalrous, allowed one kiss. In the evening the host returned with a magnificent stag. He presented it to Gawain and said, "As per our agreement, here is my gain for the day." Gawain stepped up and kissed the host. "And that was my half of our agreement," said Gawain. The host laughed and said, "Well, we know who's the luckier man." The second feast was prepared in as many days. So the next morning followed in much the same way, with the host hunting a vicious boar in dark forest, and Gawain and the lady bantering in Gawain's sleeping chambers. But unlike the last morning, the lady refused to go unless she be allowed 2 kisses. So on the evening, the host presents the boar and gets 2 kisses in return. "What a lucky man that gets such sweet kisses," declares the host. And soon a feast is prepared and all are merry. So on the 3rd morning, the host goes out to hunt a fox, and Gawain and the lady stay and banter as usual. But on today she refuses to go unless she be allowed 3 kisses. But when she does so, she does not turn to go, but instead says, "Sir Knight, I fear for you. I have a girdle in my possession that has magical properties. Whoever wears it cannot be killed." The temptation was too great, and Gawain's love of life was too strong, and he accepted the girdle. So on the evening, the host comes back and presents the fox, and Gawain steps up and gives him 3 kisses. But he does not present the girdle. "Who is bestowing such lovely kisses?" asks the host. "Chivalry forbids me from telling," answers Gawain. And a feast is prepared for the 3rd and final time, and it exceeds all the other feasts, for Gawain would go out in the morning to meet the Green Knight. So in the morning Gawain packs up and turns his horse the way the host points out. You see the patch of forest? In there lies a hill, and over the crest of that hill lies a deep cut in the earth. In that cut lies the Green Chapel. Gawain set off, and in the space of a couple hours he came upon the Green Chapel. The wild man of green stood by the chapel door, gleaming axe in hand. "You are a man of your word," boomed the Green Knight. "Are you ready to face our agreement and your fate?" "I came as I promised," declared Gawain, as bravely as he could, with his hand unconsciously hovering over the concealed green girdle. "Kneel," commanded the Green Knight, and Gawain did so. The green man swung the axe for the first time, and missed. All the muscles in Gawain's body clenched, but he remained kneeled. The green man swung the axe for a 2nd time, and missed again. It took all of Gawain's strength to remain kneeled. Now for the 3rd time the axe was swung, and it just barely grazed Gawain's neck. Gawain jumped up and brandished his sword. "Now our agreement is finished, and you will fight me in a real contest with skill." But his only reply was a chuckling that turned into a laughter. "Put your sword away, Gawain," came the voice of his host of the past 3 days. Gawain looked over at the green man, and saw his visage mold and morph into that of his host. "You are a brave and honourable man, Gawain. So on the first 2 blows you were spared, but you gave in to temptation, and you held back what was rightfully mine, and so on the 3rd blow you are nicked." Gawain kneels and offers the girdle. "No, keep it. Keep it as a token of our game, and pray not feel anger towards me, as I am a faithful servant of Morgan le Fay, your aunt." Gawain kept the girdle and went back to Camelot, where he upheld it as a symbol of the weakness of his flesh. the people of Camelot viewed it in a much different manner. They all wore green girdles, to honor his bravery and celebrate his return. For they thought him lost, but found him a changed man.